They do not want Mystic to get his hands on that champion. Pretty sure he's sitting up quite nicely up there on the Ezreal tier list that Spawn has created.
He should be. That's for certain. A very strong Ezreal player.
And Rise is going to be the final ban coming out from Team WE.
Yeah. That is, again, red side must ban champions. Rise Vladimir. Rek'Sai starting to become one of those must bans. Does way too much damage for being a tanky champion. This, of course, does leave open most of the jungle picks.
We're actually going to see Kindred being locked in here for game talent, something that we didn't see much of yesterday after the nerfs that have hit the champion in 6-11.
Yeah, and whilst they're nerfs, they're still not a big deal. The way I see Kindred is she is more important for using her ultimate with your AD carry or mid laner, someone to keep them alive, than she is for doing stupid amounts of damage. It's kind of just like the added bonus that you get by being a Kindred in the first place. You are fragile, you do run into some problems, but with WE having the options of whatever they'd like on the flip side.
Well, let's see what Ushan can do with his Kindred pickup. And we have to see what Team W decide to pick up here. It's worth to note that they're up against Game Talent, a team that's really good with early pressure, which might force Team W to retreat into that snail shell we were talking about earlier, as Hecarim and Azir are going to be the first two pickups coming for Team WE.
And the first big question we need to ask about this Hecarim being locked in is, where are you going? Are you going to be a top lane Trinity Force Hecarim, which makes you quite strong in the current patch, or are you going to be a jungle Hecarim? I think there is a bit of merit to being in the jungle because you can knock the Kindred away from the Lambsra spiders. Well, you can cause a lot of disarray. Your jungle ganking is ridiculous, and Ghost has been buffed, which is one of the other benefits that a Hecarim receives. Still flexible.
We can keep tabs on where Hecarim is going to go for Team W. It's a flex pick of sorts coming out from the roster. For now, Game Talents are looking to find their next two picks. They already got a very strong pick of the Kindred in their first pick rotation. Now looking to add two more to the lineup. They've already seen what the mid laner for Team WE is. They see they have a Hecarim too, and they lock in Jhin and Trundle as their next two picks.
Jhin, knowing that there's a Hecarim, is a risk. I think it's safe to say that that is a big risk. You're not exactly a high mobility champion, but without the Ezreal on the board and not opting towards the Lucian, they decide they want a very long-ranged AD carry.
It surprised me they didn't take Caitlyn either. One of the marksmen of AD carries are currently very vocal about being one of the strongest AD carries.
Still runs into the same problem as the Jhin will. I think that the added bonus of being super ranged with Jhin having W and ult could help out a bit.
And Siva is going to be AD carry of choice coming from Team WE. They too do not like the prospects of picking up Caitlyn. We'll have to wait and see what their next pickup is going to be here. Still missing a support and what probably is going to be a mid laner.
No, they've got Azir. You would imagine it's a
top laner or jungler. And Tarek's actually going to be the lock-in, so Team WE going to be picking up the newly improved and changed support.
They have just thrown a spanner in the works with their draft, haven't they? Team WE. They're either on the meta or they are so far off the meta they are just a mad scientist experimenting crazily right now.
Tarek, I don't think have we seen him in the LPL?
Tarek is a combination of Janna and Bard.
Okay.
That's all you really need to know. Can dive, can protect your AD carry. It's just a giant meat shield, really, that does nothing besides be fabulous.
Let's see how fabulous he can be for Team W's lineup as Game Towns are looking to find their next two picks, or their final two picks in their pick rotation. This has already been rather interesting. Jhin being picked up during first few rotations. A Hecarim, a Tarek all in the same game.
It also shows where a lot of the emphasis lies for drafting here on the side of Game Talents. Pick that jungler first, but ever going for an early rotation AD carry is either a denial pick, or they really want to give their top laner and mid laner good lanes.
They can actually give their top laner Fizz and their mid laner LeBlanc here. We can actually see the summoner spells being switched over to Ignite Teleport. It looks like it's also going to be a jungle Hecarim with Ghost Smite coming out from Team WE.
Yeah, it does look that way. Of course, he was holding onto the Ghosts, rusing us until their last pick availability was there. They have actually notoriously just changed the summoner spells to troll the viewers as well in the LPL, but not this time.
Well, they are actually going to lock in a Maokai there for 957. So it will be a jungle Hecarim coming out from Condi here, as these are two very interesting team compositions for game number one.
Yeah, Team WE, whilst the champion choices aren't exactly meta, they are not bad by any means. Hecarim very strong at the moment. Tarek has a place I'm not sure if that places right now and right here, but definitely still a good champion. We'll see how they put these together as well, because I can imagine a Hecarim running at you very fast with Tarek's stun in front of him. Could be devastating.
Certainly could, especially when he keeps his entire team invulnerable. Wushong will be able to do the same thing on the side of the Game Talents lineup, keeping both his team and Team W alive for quite some time. Looks like people are not really going to die in this game.
I think the major difference is that WE would prefer to go forward, whereas Game Talents have the availability to stand their ground and deliver.
Well, let's see if they can do just that as we head into game number 1 between Team WE and Game Talents. We've loaded onto the rift for game number 1 between Team WE and Game Talents here. The first match of the night and their first cross-conference group games here for both these two teams. As the Observer politely was able to show us what the first dragon of the game is going to be spawning as well. It's going to be a Cloud Dragon, so maybe a little bit less priority down towards the Dragon Pit for the start of this match.
Yeah, one of the least influential, you would have to say. While we're getting onto Summoner's Rift and everything pans out for our level 1, the first thing I actually want to address is that the average game time for Team WE is 41 minutes and 30 seconds. The average game time for GT is 36 minutes and 50 seconds. That's a lot of difference if we're considering averages. What that means is that GT live or die by the sword. WE play by the turtle shell.
Well, let's see which one is mightier, the sword or the shield.
That's
Not
right.
quite how that metaphor works, but...
Oh, well, look. That's essentially what they are right now. Like, WE just have low blows behind the shield. They just poke themselves out every now and then.
Try to smash you with the shield itself. For now, let's see how these lanes are going to pan out as we start this match. Mystic and Zero seem like they want to head up towards the top side of the map here. So lane swap being initiated by Team WE. Gimgoon is up on the top side, so Game Talents are not going to respond with a lane swap of their own.
And as far as lanes go, a Taric is generally pretty much non-influential in the middle. Just a bit of heals, maybe a stun every now and then, but it's easily dodged. And the long range of a Jhin would make that pretty unbearable. I don't blame them for wanting to lane swap. They even revealed themselves momentarily before doing that. As Republic's going to miss all of these. All of them. That is the most devastating. Like, I would be tilted.
Oh. That's an entire CS
I'm actually
wave
tilted and I just watched
deficit at level 1, and there was nothing you could do about it.
That was disgusting.
Savoka needs to be a little bit careful here, though. He's going to get slowed down by 957. Still being a little bit of pest. Jhin using his W there to try and lock down the Hecarim. He will still be able to take down the Gromp. Takes a little bit of damage for it.
Yeah, Hecarim notorious for getting very low in that first initial part of a clear, but he's also the kind of champion that will clear and then recall with full health and then go back. As Gimgoon's still got it and Zero flashed.
Flash coming out from the tag there to get away from danger. Savoka is still trying to
got
yes,
it.
he gets it! Savoka is able to steal the Wolf Cap away, slowing down the jungle from Condi.
Not bad. That did more damage than I expected as well, so slightly delayed.
Son of Baron can't take wolves.
No, he's the son of Baron, not the son of Wolf. Kind of makes sense like that, right? Even logically. Like. No, well done from Savoki on that Trundle. That's the one thing that you try and get away with when you're a support. And you push your luck. But every now and then it pays off. Yeah, it's more of a annoyance than anything else.
Now that we are going to see the two teams trying to take down these outer turrets. Game Talents looking to try and take down the bottom lane outer turret. Meanwhile, we see up in the top lane, Team WE trying to take down that outer turret. Both got 3 members trying to take it down and chipping away at it. We'll just have to see where they go from here. If they go back to normal lanes, if they swap back around one more time.
And Siva's slightly more efficient than that of a Jhin when it comes to taking these turrets. The Trundle can empower his auto attacks as well. Tarek does have quite a fast attack speed also. These guys should be reasonably similar in their timing, except that they're about to run out of a wave here, GT, so they're delayed.
Team W going to be able to take down the turret first up on the top side of the map. For now, 957 is going to remain up top and farm up whatever he can. Let's see where the AD carry support decides to go next. Like you mentioned, Game Town's going to take a little bit more time here, so slightly delay. Shouldn't hurt them too much, but tempo is in WE's favor. Azir going to get locked down in this mid lane. Trades back and forth with Republic, but the back from the Azir gets stopped.
Then whilst he's 8 CS ahead, he loses the trade, and that was knowingly, because Republic was the one to initiate it, so just do as much damage as you can, try and control the wave, and then recall is still ideally just what CA wants. It's not easy to do, though, with Republic being very much a nuisance.
However, Zero's going to be moving into this mid lane, possibly help out the Azir. Gives him a nice heal. Gets that one cannon creep with its Dagon shield.
That was the most efficient roam a Tarek could hope for. A cannon minion, then back to bottom lane. Sliver 1v1ing a Fizz right now, and winning.
We are going to be able to take a look at the top lane here as Game Talents are moving up to the top side. So Jin is going to be moving up to try and push down the top lane outer turret.
He's about to get dove potentially. There's no teleport to save 957 and the minions are crashing. He got caught out.
Teleport actually coming up towards the top side of the map. Here comes Gimgoon. 957 in a lot of trouble here as the Maokai is going to get taken down. First blood goes over to Gimgoon.
And even trying to leave the turret was a mistake. He was better off trying to hold his ground, maybe look for a 1-for-1 at best. But caught recalling. Trundle very good at delaying that one, slowing it down. He should have teleported. He should have just teleported out.
Almost seems a little bit silly coming out from Team WE there because they should have known this lane top was coming up to the top side. And dives like that take place all the time if you're not careful.
No, but he actually should have just teleported bottom instead of waiting. If the recall got cancelled by a pillar, that means that the pillar was unavailable. Nothing else in that lane has crowd control. Gimgoon was always going to be up there. And now they just gift a bit of extra gold in the Fizz's back pocket for nothing important from WE.
Team WE, they do lose a little bit of tempo here. They will be able to still take down the bottom lane outer turret. This game tells you the same thing to the top side outer turret. So the map has been opened up quite nicely. And mid lane has been rather isolated for now.
Condi also farming well, though. Could be quite important as he hits that level 6 mark even earlier now that he has the challenging smite. People will die if that Hecarim finds you.
Well, let's see what he decides to do later on. Is Seo going to get locked down here by Republic one more time? Wu Shuang actually making his way over towards the Azir. Azir going to pop his barrier. Here comes Savoki. Kondi jumps on top of Wu Shuang with flashes
No, he
forward.
knocked him towards it.
Gets exhausted, but still going to be able to take it down and lives to tell the tale. No, he's not. Kondi able to pick him up with that damage over time there. So they do trade 1-for-1.
Yeah, so the challenging smite actually gets the kill in the end. So you'd be happy about that for Condi, except that he knocked Wu Shuang towards his mid laner. Very unfortunate stuff here from this team. Still holding their own and making trades out of situations that probably shouldn't be. They're being the reactors, not the proactive members.
Kondi's going to head back into his jungle and farm up this blue buff here. Let's see if he gives it over to Sierra later on. Gives us some time to take a look at the items that have been... Gives us some time to take a look at the items that have been picked up so far. Savoki.
Smite it. Smite it.
Savoki being a little bit of a pest here, trying to duke him out.
Smite it.
Nah, he's going to give it to Azir. Azir going to be able to pick that one up. He's coming back to the lane with his Stinger already purchased here. We can see the AD carries actually upgrading their boots before any other items. So Berserker Greaves onto the Sivir there. Pentague has gone for his boots of swiftness first.
Makes sense that they would upgrade towards the Berserker's Greaves if they're turret taking. The Jin, of course, going for boots of swiftness doesn't necessarily need bonus attack speed when you have a fixed attack rate. It's still efficient, means he'll get around the map quicker, and will be doing plenty of damage as it is to these turrets.
You can see Republic as well has come back into the mid lane with the Lost Chapter and the Negatron Cloak. It's been a rather quiet game between Game Talents and Team WE. Something you expect from Team WE, not so much Game Talents, who are known for their early pressure and early aggression.
But now that they're matching opposite sides of the map's second inner turrets, WE are definitely getting the jump on this one. They were leaps and bounds ahead. No teleport whatsoever to match, so they'll keep going. Honestly, that should be what they do. GT are really far behind. They might have to start recalling.
Let's see if they can take down the top lane inner turret here as Game Talents are trying to push on towards the inhibitor turret down at the bottom side of the map. GameTowns will be able to take this one down, but let's see how much damage can get onto this inhibitor turret.
Yeah, so they're not going to actually get it. I don't think, because they need to respond here on the side of GT, and it will regenerate health. So not taking it essentially isn't worth it. But GA able to hold Republic in the middle lane allows them to do that. And they should have just recalled after they pushed it in and broke the freeze and then gotten that wave bottom. Great idea. Very cute in the execution. It doesn't pay off.
For now, though, things are rather even between GameTowns and Team W, both sitting at 15,000 gold. Like we mentioned at the start of the game, it's a Cloud Dragon that is currently on Summoner's Rift, so no early contention over the Elemental Dragon for now.
Yeah, you can tell no effort been placed on it whatsoever. It's more of a luxury dragon when you think about it. The two good things about the Drake is that there's nothing else on the map to take, so you get a free objective. That helps towards the Elder Dragon. And you get to see what the next Drake is, and it might not be a Cloud. And that's exciting. That's the only reason I'd take it.
Savoki now trying to see if he can lock down Zero here. Pillar's going to come out. There's a curtain call as well, just to slow down the Trundle, who has to flash away as GameTowns Republic and Wushong trying to charge in forward, but Condi's here as well. There goes the Azir straight in. Condi's going to go in as well. Leverage Spy is being put down there by Wushong. Zero trying to get a stun down as Leverage Spy ends. Mystic going to be able to pick up the first kill. GameTowns now trying to retreat away from the Team W lineup. A good Pillar will stop their advances, but it's still a good team fight for Team WE.
That team fight was rounded out by two fantastic Pillars. One to kick it off, one to close it out, but they don't win the fight this time around, GT. The Hecarim zoned all of them to high heaven for the entire fight. The Azir's able to separate the team, cause problems where Wushong has to pop his ultimate just to stay alive. There's nothing that really is even capable to do saving him there.
It equalizes the kills on the map right now. It's 2-2. GameTowns tied it up with, Team WE tied up with GameTowns here. Team WE, though, sitting on a 500 gold lead. It's nothing too significant, but it's a gold lead nonetheless. Actually, pings going out towards that Air Dragon, so we could possibly see Team WE make their way towards the pit.
Yeah, I think the important thing is where that gold lead actually lies. You have to remember that Condi having this gold is quite valuable. He's going to be a tank Hecarim. You go for the challenging smite, usually it'll indicate that he's going for a Cinder Hulk build, and still will be doing ridiculous amounts of damage. The availability of his build path as well will put him quite far ahead once he finishes that one. May go for the Trinity Force, may even just go tanky with a Spirit Visage. That's a scary thing for GT to try and deal with. A Hecarim that's big always causes nightmares.
Well, let's see what he does do later on this match. You can see actually both junglers picking up the Hunting Potion here, something we don't usually see upgraded into.
Hecarim always does. I can't speak for a Kindred wanting it this badly, but you know, there's a certain value in having full health as any champion in a highly competitive game, even just high elo in general. You need to stay full health. If you're missing health, you're exploitable, and a Hecarim needs to be full health because he's naturally fragile.
See, they're going to be able to keep it nice and topped off and farm up the jungle however much they like to here. Condi is winning that battle at the moment. He's 20 CS up ahead of Wushong here. So Son of Baron topping the son of the Son of Baron. This team that we're actually looking for a gank down towards the bottom lane. Teleports are coming in very deep behind. Nobody spots it out. There's Pinkwater. 957 is going to get the wrap around here. Good Pillar stops the advances coming in from Condi and Zero. But here it comes. Condi going to be able to find Pentakill. Mystic picks up another kill for himself.
Yeah, they ensure that Mystic is the recipient of the kill. Just another proactive move, and WE showing that they can continue to branch out, catch people out of position, and make themselves happy for this. It doesn't reflect in any gold scores. The difference between these teams is really just reflected through that top lane. That's the only thing keeping GT in this, because Gimgoon, in comparison to 957, it makes a lot of sense based off the stats we've seen from 957. He doesn't get much gold, but that's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, 50 CS lead just 12 minutes into this game for Gimgoon right now. This is something we wanted to talk about earlier, how Gimgoon, phenomenal top laner. 957, the same thing.
This is a nightmare. WE need to respond to this, but right now, there's three of them, and he's got fish.
Chum the Waters is going to come out there. 957 tries to clap his way out of this one. Flashes away as well. Ignite is sticky. He may go down still to that Ignite as Gimgoon picks up that kill. Condi a little bit too late to help him out.
Yeah, he wasn't near enough. They didn't know they were there as well. No vision to spot out anybody from GT. And a three-man strong army on the back of a fish connecting are able to take down 957. And he's not going to be happy about this at all.
And they'll be trading quite effectively back and forth, Game Talent and Team WE. Big difference is the inner turret was taken down the bottom lane for Team WE, so they do have the structural advantage. Also a small gold lead with that.
Yeah, and I guess the pleasure behind that for 957 is he'll still have money, but it's just not comparable.
Yep.
And he's going to be a Trinity Force as well from this Fizz, by the looks of it. Unless he's going Black Cleaver, but you know what, let's just go with Trinity Force on the assumption that he's smart.
2 kills, 50 CS up ahead of your opponent. GameGoon's going to be a monster.
And a snowballing dueling item
And
in
he's
a Trinity Force.
3 levels ahead of 957 right now. This lane is a disaster for the Maokai.
Yes, and for lack of a better word, it is definitely a disaster. On the flip side, Mystic has gold. The Hecarim has gold. The Azir is still farming nicely. And Maokai's purpose when we get towards mid-game and team fighting is just to be a brick wall of some variety.
We can
whether
already
it's damage soak or not.
We can already see the translation of items coming across here. Like you mentioned, GameGoon, he did pick up that Trinity Force as his first item. So first time we're going to be seeing it here in the LPL since its changes. We're also going to see mid lane. Nash's 2 finally be completed by Sia, as well as Morello Nomicon for Republic. As Mystic does have that Essence Reaver, PentaQ, still only the components for his.
So both of these teams have adapted quite nicely to the new patch. We're seeing Trinity Forces absolutely everywhere. We're not exactly looking at an Aurelia versus Jax top lane by any means, as that is actually used to clear minions, don't be fooled.
Okay.
It is a possibility that he does that. Mystic actually able to freeze is causing problems, which is the only reason. But again, we've got to carry jungle position. We've got to carry Fizz. Jay's just caught.
He's going to get jumped on here, but does the Streamer Shuffle to get out of here? Republic now in a little bit of trouble as Condi tries to chase him down. Has that ultimate, going to jump on top of Wushwang, who pops the ultimate rather early there. Not going to be any effective other than just healing people up as Zero gets taken down really low. Mystic tries to charge into the battle, but Team WE just successfully disengage.
And Zero got his ult off before the fish came out of the water, so he manages to live with no health to his name, and Gimgoon can't afford to continue diving. Mystic here means they could be able to survive this push.
That's a lot of damage coming down on towards Condi there. Able to poke him away from that turret. But Game Talents are going to decide to back off, so Team W could just go for a counter push if they want to.
They could, but that would be risky. Their health bars are lacking on both sides of these teams. I have to again give credit. There is a purpose for the Taric, and it's not ideal if you think of the duration of the fish and how long it takes to set up your ultimate. For that invulnerability, the fish will always hit you beforehand. The thing is, if you do it in advance, it will still block that damage. So Zero this time around shows what it's capable of. At this stage, though, WE, they should actually be turtling. Put that shield up, create a wall, and don't let GT into those walls, because you need 957 to get some items.
For now, though, Team W are currently in the lead. They're about 1,000 gold ahead of Game Talents. As Gimgoon's just going to work his magic over here against 957. Puts down the Chum the Waters. Not too much this Maokai can do right now.
I believe the term is Zero. He can do zero. He can't do a thing. He's just going to die over and over unless somebody comes to help him or they put him in another lane. But I would not put the Sivir in that lane. The Fizz is a problem. The Fizz is a big problem for WE.
Saving grace, so is Team WE. They have their gold distributed quite nicely across the rest of the map. Sivir getting quite far ahead at the moment. Essence Reaver and Zeal already picked up.
Yeah, and this game kind of just comes down to almost what we expected. WE have better map movements. They were getting these turrets, and they still have one in advantage, breaking the inners. Even with the mid lane turret standing here from WE, they're still holding on. But individual skill and laning prowess is what is now separating GT from them. Gimgoon's always been a good top laner. He's able to take people out in 1v1 situations all the time. Now they're sieging.
Turret is getting sieged here as the ultimate actually going to be coming out from Jin there, trying to tag as many members as possible. Gets the crit onto Mystic, not dealing too much damage as he's at full health.
150 damage. Not much. Nothing. That's barely a crit.
For the first time though, Game Talents have taken the lead in terms of gold, and this is with a turret in advantage for Team W here. Shortly to be 2 if they siege this one successfully.
Yeah, the gold's been always relatively close to that even mark. I guess Drake is the next thing that they want to look towards. Baron's not going to be considered for quite some time.
Well, you actually saw the Cloud Dragon taken earlier by Team WE, which spawned the Infernal Dragon, which was snuck away by Wushuang. The next Dragons to spawn is going to be another Infernal, so Game Talents would definitely have their eyes set on that one to stack up Infernal Drakes later on in the match.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, EDG are like the second Drake team. They always fight around that second one. The third one you would say is usually WE. Even the fourth one to an extent. As the game gets later and later, they start setting up and making decisions better for big objectives.
And this is 19 minutes into this match, so Baron's going to be spawning in a minute here. Game Talents do have a composition that can do it rather quickly with Kindred and the Fizz there. Instead, they're going to be working on trying to take down the Rift Herald to start things off. Savoki puts down the pillar there just to spot out some vision inside of Team W's jungle. This Rift Herald does fall down. Gimgoon's going to be one that picks that one up, making him even stronger than he was previously.
Have mercy on 957's soul. Not a religious man, but I'm going to pray for him. It's horrible. It's actually horrible. He is not living a good life. They just want to scale WE, and Gimgoon's trying his best to not let that happen. I actually like the point that you raised as well. The 20-minute Baron, 100% a thing. A Bloodraiser Kindred getting those marks up, and Gimgoon being Fizz means that they can two-man sneak it whenever they'd like.
Let's see if they do, because right now Team WE and Game Talents are completely even. Big difference, like we mentioned time and time again. Gimgoon is a monster up top lane, whereas Team WE, they're taking down 2 more turrets than Game Talents at the moment. They spread out their gold quite nicely throughout the rest of the team. So Gimgoons really have to come out really far ahead in these next few team fights or skirmishes to pull it back for Game Talents. Or to pull it ahead for Game Talents, I should say.
That's the big thing as well, is that Mystic's usually the recipient of a lot of the team's gold from WE. He's 2-0 currently. And that Siva has the ability to hit the front line of GT and kill the back line. There's a lot of value behind a Siva. They've also got the Azir into the Kindred, which means you can sweep them off the Lamb's Respite. Same thing goes for the Hecarim with the E. You can knock them away. And as far as team fighting is concerned, I actually value WE's team fight quite highly in direct comparison to that.
And they showed that earlier when Game Talents tried to pick them off over the Dragon Pit. Able to turn around a team fight that was initiated by Game Talents lineup.
But they're just
quite well too.
They're just honestly so strong on the side of GT. They can run the 4-1. They can't 1-3-1 exactly. Oh, they're fighting Republic.
They want to go for him. Chain's going to land down on towards Condi. Forces the flash away from the LeBlanc. Will eventually snare him up. Republic is able to just double dash away.
And that's the exact combo we thought might happen. Zero and Condi working together. Put the stun on the Hecarim as he charges at you, but it's very angle dependent. That was not the angle, and the distance they covered got LeBlanc to safety pretty easily.
Game Talents get a very quick map rotation to get lots of damage down towards this mid lane turret. There's a teleport actually coming in from Gimgoon here, going to be able to take that one down with the Rift Herald buff. In fact, Playful Tricks is out there, so Team WE, they're able to keep it alive for just a little bit longer here.
Yeah, only the tiniest bit of health remains on that turret. So sooner or later it will fall. It's just going to take a stiff breeze to knock that one over. Really, holding them back shows that they're doing a lot of damage here. Still, playing that patient game that we know they always want to do. I feel like Bob Ross could cast the WE game. Happy little mistakes.
Curtain call that's come out there from
That's
Petsky.
a big one. Yeah, don't walk that way.
Seer has to flash away after taking a very strange route to get back towards the mid lane. That turret is going to fall down here. Game Talents will force that objective down. They do have good rotation here, trying to wrap around the rest of the team. Wushuang, they are going to fight out here as Condi takes a lot of damage to start this one off. Zero now going to get caught out by Wushuang, slows him down there with the E. Gets lots of damage down onto the turret in return. So Game Talents might be able to get some good damage on towards this mid lane in the turret.
Yeah, this is really well timed. Though WE look like they're able to hold, if they maintain the health bars that they're currently sitting at, they get the risk of being dove and the Drake falling against them.
Well, Condi's ultimate is back up and available, so can use that to try and start a fight here. Siva's ultimate's still down though, so Onderhan can't quite reposition the team enough or well enough yet.
Yeah, but Condi still has no health. That's the problem, is he already got chunked out, and Zero can't heal everybody. The Drake's still the thing that they're looking at, absolutely. I just don't know if they're going to be able to set up in time. Condi still hasn't recalled.
15 or 10 seconds now until that one's going to be coming back up on long lane. Take a look at top lane. It's a massive wave. crashing on towards the top lane inhibitor turret. Same with bottom lane, but 957 is already here to try and deal with that one. And Dragon is going to come up and online. Wushwan looking to see if he can try and get over the... Okay. Pit.
He, it's a void fish, and he was aiming for space. Right? And he got void space. I have no idea why he did that. I was so dumb.
Well, it was avoided, definitely. Which means TW are going to be able to take down this Infernal Dragon for themselves. So the second Dragon for them, and the second Infernal Dragon on the map. The next one that spawns is going to be another Infernal Dragon. So that Cloud Dragon, let's just say Infernal Dragon in disguise.
I guess so.
Hiding all the luxury goods.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of focus though on the next Drake. Once again, these teams now matching with their scaling buffs. 8% increase to AP and AD. Having a Hecarim on your team again, that helps. You have that scaling damage. Sivir also does unreasonable amounts of damage, and I'm going to say is pretty much due for a shop again. It's been a little while since we've seen that man return to base, since he's had his 2 items.
You can actually see Pentakill picking up a nice CS lead for himself as he's gone for the Essence Reaver and Rapid Fire Cannon build. Whereas Mystic did go for the Essence Reaver Phantom Dancer build here. Mid laners both went back to base, picked up their Abyssal Scepters. You actually see Connie went to pick up his Spirit Visage first. Didn't opt to complete the Trinity Force. Whereas Maokai is still waiting to pick up his Sunfire Cape. He is struggling to find items.
Yeah, and just the Phage aspect of the Trinity Force picked up by Condi before finishing his next item. It's an indication of how ahead he is or how the game's going. What that means is that the rest of his team's starting to fall around him, so he needed tanky items to be a frontline threat with the 957, who was, in comparison, was definitely struggling.
You'd have to think as well. Pretty good stats on the Phage for a Hecarim.
Always.
Extra mover speed, extra health, extra damage.
And there's no Zeal component to get, but really the Sheen's also one of the other things that surprisingly good. He just needs that extra health to work with his Spirit Visage, with his Cinder Hulk. It scales with everything the Hecarim could want and more.
Well, we can actually see what Game Talents are going to try and do now, as they are creeping ahead 1,000 gold lead over Team WE at the moment. They're going to be sending Gimgoon down to the bottom lane to try and deal and pressure with 957, while the rest of Game Talents are sweeping out this Baron pit, so they want to try and control this pit against Team WE.
Yeah, remember the Kindred takes it way too quickly. WE have to put their resources with teleport on the bottom side of the map, so leaving 957 on an island with Gimgoon could honestly just outright spell disaster.
Sounds painful.
Doesn't sound like you want to be there.
Well, we've seen that a few times here. Is Condi going to get jumped on here by Republic? Puts a little bit of poke damage down. Just gets healed up, or topped up quite nicely by Zero.
I've always loved Hecarim when he gets hit. He just like accelerates, puts on afterburners and pieces out. It's always been slightly amusing to watch.
Not Team WE are doing what they do best. As soon as they fall behind even the slightest margin, start to turtle it up and farm up whatever resource they can without fighting the opposite side of the map.
Yeah. The game of trades, I suppose they are looking at.
Damage control has begun for Team WE.
They're in a bomb shelter, currently hiding away.
Game Talents are really trying to find any avenue of attack to break the shield coming out from Team WE. Just
right now,
can't find it yet.
Fizz should be the one to help break that. They've got a LeBlanc that does a lot of damage, which complements their 4-man sieging. And Kindred's able to protect people at close ranges. Yet they haven't put their resources together. They haven't even won the side lane. Gimgoon's just farming and 957 doing his damage control. You can see how spaced he is on the map.
Well, the map has been opened up quite nicely from the initial lane spots here. Republic going to be able to dodge out the stun coming from Zero, but Condi turns this one back around, trying to charge in towards the LeBlanc. Good pillar comes out to stop them.
Savoki putting in work so far with these pillars, I will say. Still, Baron control is not entirely theirs.
Ooh,
Walked a long way.
Has to go around that pillar.
I like this Taric pick with the Hecarim. I definitely think it's pretty cool. It's not like a Lulu Hecarim composition that we're used to seeing a fair bit of, where you empower the Hecarim to be unreasonably large and carry. But Condi being a tanky build now, and just having the challenging smite means that Zero is more of a complementary stun for a carry tank in a Heck.
We haven't seen too much of fights breaking up between Team WE and Game Talents. Don't blame them. Team WE don't really like to fight you until about 35 minutes into the match. Next Dragon's going to be spawning in a minute 30. It's the third Infernal Dragon of the game. It'll be the second for each of these teams.
Not a creature was stirring. On Summoner's Rift. Just farming. Agricultural League of Legends. Sometimes it's like, I appreciate WE. I understand how they win games. But as a spectator, sometimes you're like, I wish they'd just win it.
Well, there is Team WE just disengaging as much as possible away from Game Talents. I couldn't narrate to you guys exactly what was going on, but there's no point. They're just running away, everybody.
They were a bit deep there. They were kind of invading to get vision for the Drake near the enemy red buff. Jin with the zoning tool. Gimgoon also just unreasonably large with 2.5 completed items.
Well, I tell you what, I feel your sentiments about Team WE's playstyle. I respect the way they play, but as a play-by caster, I only understand how they win in about 40 minutes into the match.
Well,
it's the only really way to tell me.
You can still play-by-play what they're doing. It's just not a team fight. You have a bad time in the LCK, I think. They don't like fighting, they like trading.
Everyone in TWE likes to trade as well. Fights are very rare. Game Tells, on the other hand, they want to kill people. Gimgoon has shown that this entire game. Actually, take a look at what he's picked up next. He went for that Spectre's Cull and the Frozen Heart as his next item. So Gimgoon going full tank after the Triforce.
Yeah, well, if you go Trinity Force, when it gives 40% CDR with a Frozen Heart, you obviously don't want to double up with Iceborne Gauntlet. That would be silly. You also go Banshee's Veil instead of Spirit Visage, so you miss out on a bit of healing, but you're capped out.
Team W got a deep teleport in behind here, trying to look for a fight over that Dragon Pit. The Dragon is going to fall on over towards Game Talents here. Spencer lines up his Curtical Zero, going to get hit by that Chum the Waters. 957 goes on top of him. Wushuang takes a lot of damage here. Condi looking to try and take him down. He's waiting for the ultimate to come out. Wushuang is not going to be able to get it off, it seems, but Team W losing members left, right, and center as Gimgoon's all over the backlines. Eventually does get taken down by Mystic there. Team WE do lose one member in comparison to the two coming out from Game Talents.
Yeah, they do well here, Team WE, in a situation that looked like they shouldn't have. Wushuang got his ultimate off. It was actually invisible, and you will see that as we watch this fight again. And ideally, WE say just poke and just disengage. The fish hits 0 and everyone pieces out from him, and then they turn it back around looking at Wushuang. He drops the ultimate here. So that is an ult. He is golden. And waiting for that to end gives a lot of time on the opposite side of the map. You can see how long it takes for Tarek's ultimate to make someone invulnerable as well. He dies before it actually happens. That's where the trades come out. Everyone focuses Gimgoon. And 957 was invulnerable, so it doesn't matter if he's behind in comparison.
You see as well, Condi missed his ultimate during that team fight, trying to chase away Wushuang. Like you mentioned and pointed out, the ultimate was invisible there, so we couldn't keep track of that during the fight. A little bit unlucky.
Yeah, but the man turned golden, so it was an indicator. Obviously, with the moving Zonias, something's up. WE, though, they still show that resilience. The gold between these teams is
dead even.
Not worth mentioning.
5-5 in terms of kills. 2 dragons to each team. 5 turrets to 4.
But it's
a very even game.
Where the power lies, right? So we've got a 4-0 Sivir with 3 completed items working on the 4th. A hint of defense from that, and that's out of necessity against the LeBlanc. It's a standard build. They know. They saw them there. But on the flip side, we have a Wits End Kindred, and we also have a 3-1 Fizz.
Wits End Kindred.
Wits End Kindred.
It's an item he's been seeing a little bit more of since the rise of the carry top.
It's a bit overkill given all of the attack speed that he already has, but it's nice into magic damage.
Lots of damage on hit.
And we look into, yes, there's a lot of damage on hit, but Blade of the Ruined King is like the other thing. If you want to go all in, you may as well.
Wushuang liking that. He likes the extra magic resistance.
That's getting destroyed.
That Baron is going down so quickly. Condi, he really needs to be the son of Baron here if he wants to try and take this one away. Goes in. There comes Lancer Spike coming out to delay that one. Condi's inside the pit though. Gonna get locked down. Tries to take away. He gets it. Son of Baron gets another steal here as Team W look for the team fight right afterwards. Mystic a little bit too far forward. Gonna get jumped up and get so much damage down. Team W have found 2 picks already. Sia going forward on top of PentaQ. Tries to lock down the Azir. Goes back for the final odds attack and will be able to find it. 957 trying to chase down this Jin. Not going to be able to find him there, though, but it's a 2-for-2 trade, but still coming out from Team WE.
Condi does not fall for your tricks, Kindred. Your Lamb's Respite does nothing to his smite, and he manages to pick that one up. Well done from Son of Baron. You can see he actually holds the smite, waits for it to end. And this is the opposite part of the fight where Siva is a one-man wrecking crew. The rest of the team is fighting Gimgoon. Mystic gets exhausted whilst he's 1v4. Still lives through all of that burst because of his Maw of Malmortius, and CA just kind of bites off more than he can chew to cause a trade with Pentakill here.
Tries his best, but the extra moves means he's able to get Pentakill away from 957 after the fight. But they're still fighting here.
Something's happening on the other side.
Something was going on.
There we go.
Pentakill finds a pick there onto
They're all
957. Seer dies as well. Mystic's dead. What was going on?
I don't know. They're all dead, man.
Suddenly, you know, Team W, they took Baron, and now they don't have it anymore. I think... What?
I don't know.
There is no more Baron buff.
I was watching a replay, Fish, and then we came back, and they're dead.
Great. Team W don't fight already as it is. We don't get to watch the sometimes they do now.
I don't know, you just take what you can, really, with this team. That still is a big pushback from Game Talents. They were the ones going for the Baron originally, though it got stolen. And though the team fight didn't go in their favor, they're still the ones who have the control of this map. They utilize that. Obviously, they get themselves another fight. The Drake up in a minute should be what they're looking at.
Wasn't able to check what that next, or the final elemental dragon is. It's not actually. It's an elder dragon that's going to be coming up next. So we'll have to see. Yep. We'll have to see what these two teams will fight for, or if they do fight for the elder dragon later on.
With a couple dragons apiece, it'd be quite valuable. I'd say even WE's team composition. I'd love one of those. That's the GT, actually. Lots of damage over time. Very valuable for them to pick up.
Especially since they have two infernal dragons. That dragon's going to buff them up quite nicely.
And there's just no Baron. So there's only one epic monster left to fight for.
Yep. Kurtzikal actually going to be coming out here. It's this turret trying to take it down here by Team W. Condi soaking up the Kurtzikal as Gimgoon going to get jumped on here in the backlines. Condi now trying to get on top of Wushuang. Ulti's back here towards the middle of the park. Trying to jump on top of everyone. Savoki though separated lines of battle. Zero going to have to use his ultimate here. He's going to get good invulnerability off onto four members of TWE.
No,
they turn it around as Mystic does get takes out two here as Gimgoon and Wushuang do get taken down. Pentakill trying to do what he can to fight off the back half of that, but Team W get a good team fight.
And the Kindred just throws away the rest of that fight. He saved his Lamb's Respite, looked to get next to his team before he popped that one down, but jumps forward and dies before he can even press his R key. CA holds off, and Mystic is hard carrying WE right now.
Team W, they're going to be able to take down this middle lane inhibitor turret and inhibitor. Savoki tries to stop them from getting too far away by putting down that pillar. Chain's going to come out from Republic, not quite able to lock them down.
Savoki's going to continue to look for this chase with a Jhin.
Condi is going to get a lockdown here. Here comes the Kurtzikal on top of Condi. Republic finds that one. They're able to slow down Mystic as well. Good spell shield's going to stop the second proc of the Kurtzikal. As On the Hunt is going to be used as well to try and get him to safety. Pillar going to slow him down. Republic looking for another chain here. More Malmortius has been popped as well. 957 is trying to desperately stop the one. Actually, Jin's W slipped through there. Republic going to be able to get the shutdown and finds another pick.
And they chase them up the entire map. Only 957, Zero, and Sierra alive. And they have to walk all the way to their spawn. Means the Elder Dragon could be looked at. They'll take this very quickly with a Kindred who is alive and here, ready to hit it.
Game Talent fighting Team WE in their own turf here. 35 minutes into the game. Just when Team WE looks strong, Game Talents are biting back. And this Elder Dragon is going to fall for Team Game Talents here. So two Infernal Drakes being buffed up.
But only a short period of time with which you can utilize this buff. So they need to get those recalls in. Big wave needs to be cleared first.
Whew.
And now the possibilities are endless for GT.
That is a huge wave.
Yeah, that's very satisfying to watch. If they can reset here, actually get themselves out of their base. Nothing to take on the map in the way of epics. They need to fight. They need to force a fight. Otherwise, it's just a wasted buff that's a denial tool from WE, who just had to get fought tooth and nail for every single inch of the map that GT took from them due to the range of their comp, the stickiness of LeBlanc. It was outright disaster here.
As well as Savoki, who's been learning some quite crucial pillars in this fight, in these fights. In fact, the only person that hasn't died on Summoner's Rift yet as well.
0010. The bottom lanes of both of these teams are doing well. I have to admit, Zero has been impressing me with his Taric. It's not something you're often used to seeing, let alone saying. Every time you see a Taric, usually they just feel lackluster. Because we called it a Bard Janna hybrid. Well, why not be Bard or Janna, depending on what your purpose is? And against the Fizz and a LeBlanc, if you can time it and deny burst, that's pretty damn cool.
Yeah, he got a pretty good ultimate off in that last fight for Team WE.
Yeah.
Let's see if he can continue to do just that. It's Republic already dashing aggressively forward there on top of Condi. Tries to lay down whatever damage he can. That's a very big Hecarim.
Yeah. And also a point that you raised off air is that Tarek's ultimate can be coupled with a Kindred ultimate, so that by the time hers runs out, you're invulnerable. So you can kind of pick and choose whichever target you'd like on your team to become invulnerable with you.
So far, though, we haven't seen that coming out from them in this game. As Kurtzgol gets popped one more time here by Pensacola. Republic actually tries to jump in as well, take some damage in return. Just poking out Team WE here, but they don't lose too much health. And this Dragon buff is going to be gone in just a second for Game Talents.
Yeah, they ran it out. They don't get a lot from it.
Baron, though, is going to be respawning in 30 seconds here, so GT could definitely try and set up to take down the next epic monster.
And this will be taken unreasonably fast if WE are not there to stop them. That's something they always have to look at getting or doing, as we're nearing WE's average game time of a long game, not a short game.
Game Talent's already going over their mark. It's past their bedtime. Team WE, they like to stay up a little bit late.
Big items on the Jhin as well. As far as the long-range carry is concerned, has all the armor penetration. His 3 core crit items as well. He is a super dangerous man.
There's the QSS as well to stay safe. When we look at the rest of their team, Gimgoon has the components for his final item. Ushuang going to be picking up his final item, which is also going to be some armor penetration here. Picked up a frozen mallet on this Kindred instead of...
What an unusual item build.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I built this about a month ago and everyone's like, you're a troll. You know what, I was a little bit, but now it's standard. What are you going to do about it?
You know, Hex Drinker.
No, it's not standard. I'm kidding. That is so far. A Wit's End on the Kindred, like against magic damage, that is somewhat not there, means that he just wanted a reasonable amount of MR, but wants the attack speed more, when, ironically enough, the more of Malmortius is probably better.
Yep, no more. No Sterix Gauge, so very little survivability for Ushuang out of his ultimate
What's
and
cool
the extra health.
That it's damage over time. Magic damage on the side of WE, there's not exactly burst. So if it was a LeBlanc and he was playing Kindred, so if Condi was Kindred, you'd still get a more of Malmortius.
Is Condi going to get chunked out a little bit there by Republic? Not too worried about LeBlanc's damage.
Chunked? He looks like
For a
100
Hecarim.
Are you looking at his health bar?
Yeah.
You know every single red dot's 100 health.
Yep.
What do you call a chunk?
Well, in comparison to how much he had left after, as a
Oh.
Hecarim.
Oh. Oh. All right.
Rusty's officially tilted.
It's not a chunk.
All right.
It's like a back
Rusty.
scratch.
He didn't really like it, so I don't think you can call it a back scratch.
You don't have to like a back scratch. It's just a back scratch. I still think that the Baron's just going to be something the GT are looking towards as well. The question's when they pull that trigger. WE assumed vision of the area. And as such, are able to try and mount a defense. As yes, Siva auto-attacked twice and cleared like 12 minions.
She's also got her final item being built here. Last Whisper has already been picked up, waiting to complete that into the upgraded version of the armor penetration 80 carry item.
Yeah, I'm waiting for whichever one he prefers, as we do get to have a look at the increased stats. As Condi thinks it's funny that we are doing that. It's not that funny.
It is.
Still a big Hecarim.
He's got a lot of tanky stats, all of them contributing to what Hecarim does best.
And he left it at Phage. Which means he doesn't have a lot of CDR to his name. Which is not a bad thing, because Hecarim naturally has low cooldowns as he levels up.
Game Talents still have control over this Baron pit, but there are wards from TW to spot out if it's going to get taken.
Yeah, and they know it's watered, but they just don't have enough vision denial at present to deal with that. To reassess, maybe go back to base or replace pink wards, and WE now have an opportunity. Because at the moment, Gimgoon is bottom, and whilst he has teleport, they can still try and catch somebody out.
Smokey was toying with danger there. In fact, Condi is
Condi.
actually going to get caught out here. That is a chunk onto the Hecarim.
It is, and Gimgoon's looking.
Kurticle's going to be popped down there as well as the pillar. Going to separate the team. Force the flash coming out from Mystic and Zero to get away here. So good initiation from Game Talents. Get some key summoner spells away from Team WE.
Yeah, flash from Mystic is really important. Condi also has no health to his name. If he wants to steal this Baron, he's going to have to put in work.
Well, he is the son of Baron. He's already done it once this game. Let's see what he can do here. Is 957 actually going to get locked down? That's a lot of damage down towards a Maokai. The whole team of TW is going to get invulnerable in just a second, but Game Talents, they back off as soon as that happens. Now looking for the re-engage. Maokai gets taken down here really low. There goes the Guardian's Head to keep him alive. PentaQ finds that first ping. Sia trying to separate the fight as Gimgu's gone straight into the back lines. Game Talents looking strong. Mystic trying to do what he can, but gets taken down by Gimgu. That's an ace that's going to be coming out from Game Talents. It's a triple kill. Comes out from PentaQ, and it will be Savoki that should eventually be able to go toe-to-toe against 957. In fact, maybe not. Just going to duke it out against this Maokai, but PentaQ will be able to push down the lane.
We'll just let those two have it out. I don't actually think, yeah, he's not going to kill him. That is like hitting a brick wall with an inflatable baton. But 957, he lives. That's not an ace. 4 people strong means that they won't get a whole lot from this. That is really greedy from PentaQ to push instead. And the result is potentially the inhibitor.
Well, 957, he's here to try and stop this, but that's a lot of damage being put down by their Jin there. They're still chasing him down. PentaQ trying to lock him down, not quite able to find the W.
No matter.
This tower taking a lot of damage here. The mini crits coming out from Jin should be able to take down the mid lane inhibitor turret.
So they don't have a lot of time to push, and I think PentaQ prioritized pushing with what is a lack of wave clear that he has present, and they only get a turret for it, as we do get to see this again. Condi overextending because their purpose is to keep Mystic alive. And the re-engage after the Taric ultimate finishes was fantastic. Condi body blocking. He is still a tank, but when that many people are hitting you, you're not really a tank at all. Mystic lives for an awful long time. You have to give so much credit to the way that they play this fight, WE. But GT just had their number at every single outlet. PentaQ with the flank. The damage they were doing was ridiculous. And sooner or later, they start to crack.
Gimgun as well, that entire fight. Dodged Condi's ultimate. Stayed alive. Got onto the back line. Found a couple of kills for his team too. He's got 6 items as well. He was massive in that team fight.
Yeah. And Shia was very close to knocking them all off the Lamb's Respite, which could have changed the outcome of that fight, but it didn't. See when they're possible to...
On the hunt, coming in. Condi wants to try and initiate this one. Jumping back in. Republic takes a lot of damage. There's that Lance of Spike, but Misty takes so much damage in the backline. He's going to try and stay alive. Gimgu jumps straight on top of him. Guardian's Head going to be popped for the Fizz. Gametal's trying to re-engage here. Zero taking a lot of damage. Fizz eventually does come back alive, but on the wrong side of the map. Team W now in full retreat. Good spell shield comes out from Mystic there to stop the lockdown coming in from the Jin. These pillars from Savoki really damaging Team W in these fights.
And Mystic still wants more because he knows that after all is said and done, Republic was too low to assassinate him and Gimgun's GA was popped. The confidence that he has is almost enough to get WE over the line. And we just saw what happens when a Taric gets the stun off and a Hecarim is running at you very fast with that stun on him. Unfortunately for them, both teams can disengage well. It looks like we're going to the distance in game number 1.
We certainly are. Game Talent's really taking it to Team W, playing them in that at their own game. We know that Game Talents like to play their games very aggressively early, putting on a lot of pressure at the start of the matches.
No, just straight starting up the Baron. WE feel like they can just win everything.
This is actually just going to get taken down by Team W. I don't see how they're going to be able to take this one away. Ushuang is trying to get towards this pit. There's the critical coming out on the back lines. It's going to be the Fizz coming in. This Baron is really, really low. It's going to get taken down. Condi is able to take it one more time. 100% of the Barons go to Team WE.
Gimgun's got a big flank.
And he's going to be able to find this one. Jump straight on top of Mystic. Jump the waters on top of the AD. Mystic gets taken down. That's the carry gone. Gimgu doing some heavy work here. A nice nair coming out from Jin as well. Sia, he's getting locked down. They have the Baron, but the team fight is going sour there for Game Talents as they take down so many members of Team WE. They're just going to be able to continue pushing.
Yeah, Condi's just dead, and they have a lot of time on the clock with nobody available from WE. This should be at least inhibitors, if not the entire game. The death timers are far too long. But they want minions to help them secure this game, because you need minions now. You can't backdoor turrets. We'll see how much they get done.
Well, 30 seconds on Mystic, the first person to die in that fight.
Well, Zero's already up.
This is going to be game. Like
957's 20. That should just be game over.
Zero is going to do what he can to try and defend this one, but Game Talents They take Team WE to 48 minutes in game number 1, and off of one final team fight are able to take the game as well. They're up early in this best of 3 series, taking out Team WE.
Besting a late game team in WE. The best team fighters in the LPL have just been team fought and lost. Not a promising game number 1 from this side, but a very promising start for Game Talents, who looked a lot better.
Yep.
I feel like they got it all together.
You know, they started the summer split of the LPL quite strongly, taking down quite a few teams. We saw them take down Snake, Newbie. Then we kind of discredit that to being the context of the wins being those teams were very weak in their current state, losing the games to ING and Energy afterwards. Now, game 1 against Team WE, Game Talents looked solid against them.
And PentaQ looked solid on the Jin, something that I didn't expect to see perform too well. Wushong was the only question mark that I really had in this team. Not only did he build funny, he played funny. Republic, however, and PentaQ being the 2 big carries, shows what happens when their carries fire, and it's not just a one-man army of Wushong. They can win without him.
Which is really strange to say. Wushong is the one that played weird for Game Talents, and I think that's good news for Game Talents. If your star jungler is the one that's playing the worst in your team, it means that the rest of your teammates are playing a lot better.
Yeah, if you win without him doing anything, even barely pressing his smite key because Condi was still getting every single buff, then really that's a great start to game number 1. You have to give a lot of credit to them.
Condi still holds on to Son of Baron there, but that Hecarim pick was a little bit unorthodox. They didn't do too much in that game, it felt.
I think the Hecarim pick's fine. I actually don't think that's a problem at all, but the way that WE drafted themselves was to keep Mystic alive on a low-ranged AD carry. Game Talents built themselves to kill that AD carry. The Fizz way too far ahead, just all sorts of problems occurred.
And that was the pressure point for Gimgu. We talked about the matchup very briefly at the start of the game. Gimgu going up against 957. He really took it to him.
Yeah.
It was a disaster for
like
957.
50 CS or something at 7
CS,
minutes,
3
9 minutes.
kills as well.
Yeah, that was unreasonable. It was a pretty big lead, to say the least. So, Gimgoon, pretty big deal moving into this second game. The Fizz hard carried. Even that last team fight that they won, the Fizz hard carry gets onto the Civil with a big flank.
Exactly that. He finds the Chum the Waters, finds the flank on top of a team that was surrounding this Civil. And with so many ways to protect him, like Taric, like Condi, knocking him away. Just every single team fight. It was Gimgoon that was coming out trumps, the one that was always on the ball, finding avenues of attack that couldn't be prevented there. But that was game number 1 coming out tops there for Game Talents. They're going to a